Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
We need to get community. We need this thing to be bigger than just our little circle of players and coaches.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon!
With 2 seconds on the clock.
He hits it!
That's the bigger picture in this thing, allowing the community to celebrate the hard work, blue-collar mentality this group brings to the table.
And the Ducks have won it! The Ducks have won!
We get to struggle together, and we get to have joy together.
The Ducks are Pac-12 champions!
I am so proud right now to be the head coach of Oregon.
Catch made! Touchdown, Oregon!
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Ducks and Utes coming up. We've got a big-time matchup, a 12:30 kickoff. Oregon and Utah coming up on Fox. Last night on the Coaches Show, we had Dan Lanning joining us, and he was outstanding. Also, Taki Taimani, defensive lineman for the Ducks, was excellent. He has a unique family opportunity here coming up. That family opportunity is not just the 46 family members that will be in attendance, it's also the fact that his daughter will see him play for the first time in person. So awesome. Taki Taimani was with us on the Oregon Football Coaches Show last night. If you missed it, the Go Ducks YouTube has you covered. Also, the podcast, Oregon Sports Network podcast. Also, the Oregon Football Facebook page. So many different things, so many different ways to tune in. But it was really cool hearing him talk about that, and I encourage you to check it out. I got to tell you, it was really moving for me to hear him kind of summarizing what that's going to mean to him. He also talked with the media. Taki Taimani did this week, and we'll have that for you in just a little while here on the show as well. A lot to cover, though, with the voice of the Utes, Bill Riley. He's going to join us live coming up next segment, actually, in Salt Lake City. He's actually wrapping up his very own show right now talking about this football matchup. 12:30 kickoff, 10:30 pregame show. And I just talked with the guy who we're going to kick off today's show with, position coach Terrence Ferguson. We're going to hear from him in a moment. We'll also have chats with Bucky Irving, Casey Rogers, the aforementioned Taki Taimani this week, and Kelly Graves, Grace Van Sluten, and Peyton Scott from Duck women's basketball. They talked to the media yesterday afternoon ahead of the matchup coming up on Sunday. If you can believe it, basketball season is here. 4 o'clock on Sunday, women's basketball in an exhibition matchup. 3:30 pregame show. Chris Clayton's filling in for Terry Johns. Bev Smith will be there as well. I'm looking forward to another season of Oregon women's basketball. So a little focus on that program coming up in just a bit. But Terrence Ferguson, his position coach, Drew Maringer, we talked just after practice today. If you're with us live on Thursday in the 1 o'clock hour, I talked to Coach Maringer for about 16 minutes. That's part of the pregame show coming up, as well as Justin Jacobs. We're going to chat with him. And then also, I'm really looking forward to letting you hear Jackson Powers Johnson. Ryan Milano had some fun with him. And we started doing this last week, so I want to remind everybody, if you don't hear the interviews live on the pregame starting at 10:30, rolling all the way up to that 12:30 Pacific time kickoff, we're actually going to put them in the Oregon Sports Network podcast this week as well. What that means is if you subscribe to the Oregon Sports Network podcast, or if you see the story post on GoDucks.com, you can listen to those pregame interviews on demand. Some fans have asked me about if they missed the pregame show, where they can go back and listen. And via the GoDucks app, you can listen to our archived broadcasts, but I know then you're kind of scrubbing through to find the interviews. I get it. So we're going to make them available for on-demand consumption here moving forward. Via GoDucks.com, there will be a story post with all of our pregame show interviews, and you can subscribe to the Oregon Sports Network podcast, Duck Insider, the Coaches Show, and then that'll also now include the pregame interviews here moving forward. Bill Riley's coming up, but first, Terrence Ferguson. The Duck tight end met with the media this week, and a tight end's job, sometimes you're going to block people and blow them up and end up getting credit for pancakes. Other times, you're going to catch touchdowns like Terrence Ferguson has done. Other times, you're going to get credit for nothing, but except in the film room when the tight ends do the dirty work. Terrence Ferguson on the matchup with the Utes coming up. Here's the Duck tight end.
I think Patrick has enjoyed being in the limelight with his couple of blocks beyond ESPN this week. You think he's enjoyed that popularity?
Yeah, he definitely has. He's not really a
big limelight guy, so it's good to see him get the recognition he deserves, because you go watch that, he has a lot more than just those ones coming up in that came up on ESPN.
When you see someone, one of your friends, someone in your position group do something like that, have a block like that, how much does that fire you up on the sideline?
Man, that fires me up more than when I make a play, because we've been through a lot. Pat's been through a ton, with all of his injuries and everything. So to see him come back and make good plays and make big plays in the team and really get out there and do that is really big.
Did you see his block on the pass live? Just because, you walked the guy out of bounds, so I didn't know if you could even see it live.
Yeah, so I didn't realize he cleaned the guy until after I looked up at the Jumbotron and I see it and I was like, oh my gosh, that's going to be like ESPN Sports Center top 10 block right there. So it's pretty cool to see.
With your own improvements in the blocking game, like I say, on that play, you knocked a guy beyond the way out of bounds, and you've had several big blocks this year. So how have you gone about improving as a blocker?
As a team and as a tight end unit, I think we've really prided ourselves in blocking, being usually smaller than the DNs or whoever we're blocking. You have to have really good technique. And last year we watched some film and saw we could get better at blocking, and really pride ourselves in it. So I think we've taken a big jump because we've just taken ownership of it. And we're not going to just be a tight end. We're going to block. They have to worry about us blocking them, not just, oh, it's another guy,
Is there anything hyper specifically that you really had to work on in that sense?
It's a lot of different things, honestly. It's just kind of all of it. Just bringing your hands, your hips tying to your hands, hand placement. There's a lot of little things that tie into a good block. It doesn't just looks like just a big guy moving another big guy around, but it's really technical, so all around.
For the tight ends in particular, just specifically this week with the guys they have coming off the edge, pass protection, how much are you guys looking forward to that opportunity as tight ends?
That's a huge opportunity for us. They're elite pass rushers, and I can't wait to go out and go against the best, because that's when I feel like my best comes out, and the rest of the tight ends, we're really competitive people. They have really good edges, so we're excited for the challenge.
How have you seen your game grow as the season's gone on?
There's been a lot of different things. I'd say blocking is a real big one. I think the biggest thing is still leadership, getting thrown into this role. Me and Pat both having to step up for these young guys and a lot of the transfers and new room. And we've really prided ourselves in taking the room and taking control of it and really bringing us together. We're a really tight group. Those are my brothers. And so I think that was kind of the biggest jump I've taken, is just leadership and being able to help those guys out more.
Dan has talked about the need to improve on the road and play a complete game on the road. What specifically do you see standing in the way of you guys doing that?
I think we've done a great job in practice this week, preparing for their environment and a lot of things that they do, because they are a really good defense. And I think we're doing a great job preparing for it all. So we just got to put it all out there on Saturday.
You guys have obviously gone to Texas Tech, gone to Seattle this year. What about Utah makes it a specific environment?
A lot of things. They have a lot of passionate fans. They're going to pack out the crowd. The altitude. There's a lot of different things that it gets loud in there. I played there my freshman year, and it's a loud place, passionate fans, and a good football team behind it. So, it's a lot of different things.
How much the room changed in the offseason, Terrence? How much pride do you and Pat in particular take in that you guys are still running a lot of 12, a lot of 13, even broke out 14 last week, that this position group did have change and turnover, but yet you're having a lot of success still with new guys in the room, and you're maybe even better.
I think that's just a testament to our coaching, honestly. Coach Manager is a great coach. He's been able to put us in perfect situations to succeed, and he's coached us, and we've gotten a lot better throughout the season, especially just from last year. Pat has taken leaps and bounds, and he's become a great tight end. So I think really it's a testament to our coaching staff and what they've done for us.
Is there anything that you think Pat's doing markedly better than what he was doing at this time last year?
Everything. If you go watch him, he's playing his butt off, and he's running good routes. He's catching the ball when it comes to him. He's breaking tackles. He's blocking exceptionally well. So I've loved to see him grow that way, because he's an elite player and he's showing it.
I think that's his skill development, or is that just simply being a year removed from rehab of that injury?
I think it's both. You get a little bit of confidence coming from a couple big injuries like that. He's come back and he's made plays in the spring and the fall, and so it's kind of stacked with his confidence, but also just being able to have a full development through the summer and the winter. Being able to do all the drills, all the workouts. So I think that's kind of both.
former teammate Malik. He's been having some success down at UCLA. You kept in contact with him at all?
Yeah, Mo's my guy. So that's one of my best friends, man, and I've loved to see him succeed up there at UCLA. So it's been really cool to see him do that, and me and him get on the phone all the time. That's still my brother. So I'm excited to see all the guys that left our room succeed.
That's Terrence Ferguson, Duck tight end, meeting with the media. And again, Drew Maringer, his position coach. We've got him on that pregame show starting at 10:30. When we come back, the guy who's got the call on the Utah side of this matchup, Bill Riley, will join us after this. Voice of the Utes, talking Ducks and Utes on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear roads, trails, and rivers. Ready for some SUV action? Drive family adventures with the Highlander. Make a splash with the RAV4. Or haul fun with a Sequoia. Check them at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear roads, trails, and rivers. Ready for some SUV action? Drive family adventures with the Highlander. Make a splash with the RAV4. Or haul fun with a Sequoia. Check them at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
This is Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
You took the first step and quit smoking, but even former smokers may still be at risk for lung cancer. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know about a new low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early. It takes only 60 seconds and could save your life. You took the first step, now take the next. Visit SaveByTheScan.org for a simple quiz to see if you're eligible and talk to your doctor about screening. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
My simple solution to the problem was remove people from the scene and help them feel safer.
In response to attacks against Asian Americans, Maddie Park raised over $250,000 to donate cab rides to the Asian community.
There is so much more work to be done. We really need to come together and tackle this issue as a community.
Support the Asian community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
We're back. We're back. Bill Riley is here, ladies and gentlemen. I tell you what, anytime that we get a chance to talk to Bill, I have an awful lot of fun. It's Duck Insider presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. I'm in the Country Financial Studio, and the beauty of modern technology, Bill Riley is live from his car. He could do an ad read for you for some car dealership in Salt Lake City right now. Bill, you're a man on a mission. Probably just got off the air himself. Bill, it's so much good fun to talk to you. How are things?
Good. You're right. 10 minutes ago, I got off the air. My dad is coming to Salt Lake for the game this weekend, so I'm running to the airport to pick up Big Bill Riley.
Big Bill
so
Riley.
I'm going to get him in a few minutes, but I got to do the Duck Insider first with my boy Joey.
Wait. This is a huge question that I don't know the answer to. Are you a junior?
I'm the fourth.
Oh, my goodness. I did not know that. How did I not know that?
I've got a Roman numeral in front of my name, my friend.
Wow, that deserves a round of applause. Bill Riley the fourth. I want you to know that we're going to change the show copy on the lower third for you to forever have Bill Riley the fourth forevermore. Bill, that's awesome. I didn't know that. You're the second fourth I've ever met. How many fourths have you met in your life?
I've met a lot of fourths. I have. Don't you guys have a fourth on your team right now?
We sure do. That's the guy I'm talking about.
Yeah, what is safety or a linebacker? I can't remember. Is it Stevens the fourth or something like that?
Steve Stevens the fourth. Real first name is Alfred, but he goes by Steve like all of his predecessors in the line of four before him. So there you go.
Who's done his 2 deep depth charts? Whose spotting boards are on point for this week? This guy right here.
That's right. Hey, okay, so season so far for us. I always ask generally because, I've watched a lot of Utah football, Bill. I think some Duck fans have, but probably haven't watched every play of Utah football like you, so give us the season review from the Utah for Duck fan perspective.
Well, it's been a unique season, kind of like every of the last 3 seasons for Utah. There's been some sort of storyline, usually bad, but they've seemed to have worked through it. 2 years ago, obviously, it was the off-field tragedy. Last year, it was digging themselves a hole early in the season. This year, it's been injuries everywhere. Yet somehow, after 7 games, they're 6-1. Their best player, Cam Rising, is not going to play this year. He was shut down last week. They were hoping he would play at some point in time. That is not going to happen. Brant Keithy, not going to play. 2 guys that have killed the Ducks in 21, they're not playing. They've somehow found a way, and it's a credit to the coaching staff, and it's a credit to the depth of talent and the kids that they have just, Kyle Whittingham. He doesn't care. Nobody cries for you. Just play. They put it next man up mentality, and now they're 6-1, still in the Pac-12 race, and host the Ducks this weekend. So it's been a good season. The one stumble was on that Friday night up in Corvallis against the Beavs, where they just didn't have enough offense. Their defense was fine. You give up 21 points on the road to a good team, that should be enough. But then they got a shot in the arm offensively, adding Sione Vaki, the juice man, to the offense, the two-way player. And it's been a little bit different the last 2 weeks. So they're in a good spot, and I think this weekend's going to be fun, Joey.
Listening to Coach Whittingham's press conference, I really loved what he said about Cam Rising and his leadership. You mentioned Keithy. I mean, injuries have been they're the most unfortunate part of sports, Bill. But I really loved Coach Witt's perspective, and I was hoping you could share your perspective. Like, those are guys that have been leaders, but now there is a little clarity moving forward for the Utes too. I don't know. It seems like it's worked out as well as it could in an injury situation, that now there's a little clarity, and also they're still leaders for the team off the field.
Well, yeah, they're still around. They're not going anywhere. They're around the program. Frankly, they could come back and play, Joey. I mean, that's decisions they have to make.
Right.
But because neither of them played this year coming off injuries, they have a medical year if they want it. Now, that's a different discussion for later in the season. But, yeah, there is a clarity now. And I think that the team found out last week. Kyle made the announcement after the USC game, but clearly the team knew because they voted Bryson Barnes a captain in the locker room before the game. Bryson Barnes was a captain last week, and he's now the guy, the leader on offense, and he's been around and he's well-liked. But there is something to it, and it's hard to quantify this. But, the Cam thing was a week-to-week thing, and there was always that, is he going to come back? Is he going to come back? Well, now he's not. And all the energy, all the attention, all the focus can go on the guy that's your leader at quarterback, and that's Bryson Barnes. I don't think it was a distraction in any way, but when you remove it totally, you can just say, hey, this is who we are. This is what we are. Those guys are still part of the team, but we know they're not coming back to play now.
Yeah, voice of the Utes, Bill Riley, with us. So Bryson Barnes, what about him? How good is he?
Well, the storyline everybody likes to talk about is the pig farmer. Right. He grew up on a pig farm in Milford, Utah. His family run 12,000 heads of pigs, but he's a hard worker. This was a kid that threw 138 touchdowns in high school. It's a Utah State record. It was 1A football. He was a state champion wrestler as well. He's tough as nails. You probably saw the shot that he took to the ribs in the Oregon State game, which I'm still going to tell you it's a cheap shot. It was a cheap shot till the end of time. It didn't need – the ball was well away, whatever. But he missed the next week, and now he's come back. He's a good player. He's a smart player. He knows the offense as well as anybody not named Rising or Andy Ludwig, frankly. And he's a good athlete. Now, is he elite? Is he Cam Rising? Probably not. He doesn't have the reps or experience. Teammates trust him. Coaches trust him. He can make the plays. And frankly, last week, he balled out against USC. He made the one mistake to pick 6, but otherwise, he used his legs well. He used his arm well. He's kind of a poor man's Rising or a poor man's Bo Nix. So he's good enough to win it for you. But he's not going to be able to do it on his own. He needs the help of his teammates.
What about the help of his teammates? What about the rest of the offense? Are they starting to settle in a little bit more? You expect more points on the board second half of the season?
I do. 34 against Cal, 34 last week against USC. Obviously, Oregon's a different animal because they're a better defensive football team. The other thing that's finally come into form the last 2 weeks is the offensive line. All 5 starters are there, including their starting center. So those guys are settled in. I mentioned Sione Vaki playing 2 ways. The guy's phenomenal. He made the athletics freaks list. He just brings that electricity and juice to the offense that wasn't there. They can run the ball. Jaquindon Jackson, as you know, is a very good running back. Jalen Glover, too. But adding the Bucky dimension, because you can line him up in a lot of different places.
Right.
They're using him kind of the same way the Niners use Christian McCaffrey. He's a running back. He's a wildcat. He's a slot receiver. You can line him up out wide. So you have to account for him. USC did not. They paid the price. Cal wasn't able to account for him in the run game. They paid the price. So the weapons around are better. They're not as good as they would be if they had Keithy. Former Duck Micah Pittman was a guy they were hoping could really add some juice to this offense. But Micah, unfortunately, as he was at Oregon, injured, and he's out for the season right now. So they're doing it a little shorthanded, but again, I don't know that Utah knows any other way.
Yeah, I mean, isn't that the ultimate shout out to Kyle Whittingham, Bill? I mean, you know him better than most. I'm always amazed at Utah's going to be a 6-win team. They win 9 or 10. Utah's going to be a 9-win team. They probably win 10 or 11 that year. I mean, what can you say about Coach Whittingham in the Pac-12 era and now moving into the Big 12? How much respect that guy's got?
Well, I mean, he's one of the best coaches in the country. We know that. I think there's a value in knowing who you are and what you are, Joey. He's never varied that, whether it was as a coordinator in the WAC in the Mountain West or a head coach or now. They know what their identity is. It's toughness, it's physicality, it's run the football, it's mix in the pass, it's be fundamentally sound and play really hard every down.
Yeah.
That's never varied. In an age where teams like to spread the field and they go from one identity 1 year, 2 years later, there's something else. Utah knows who they are, and they've had success with who they are. So it's not hard to sell that to kids. And then the staff there's also a continuity factor too. This staff has been together for the most part for a long time.
Yeah.
And when you've got continuity on the staff and a buy-in and a belief in a good culture, that's going to take you a long way, and that's where Utah is.
Defensively, as we continue with the voice of the Utes, Bill Riley, this is a staggering number, 25%. That's what the Utes are allowing on third downs. Safe to say that third down and maybe more in-depth first and second down yardage for Oregon's offense is going to be a key in this thing. Second best in the FBS, third down defense percentage, Bill. What's made them so good on third down, the Ute defense?
Well, they're just really good. The other thing is they're also one of the – I got to double-check my numbers this week. 2 weeks ago, they were the number one first down offense too. So if you're good on first down and you're good on third down, you're probably going to be pretty good defensively.
Yeah.
So you better make your hay on second down. And teams have been in a lot of third and longs against the University of Utah. They can get pressure with 4, Joey. That's the thing. They've got 3 defensive ends who are fantastic, and they're finally all healthy and playing together, led by Jonah Ellis, who's the nation's sack leader, at least among Power 5 schools. The linebackers are good, though. They're down a linebacker, Lander Barton, who's very good, out for the year. But if you look at it, they've added Levani Demooney from Stanford,
right,
who was a 3-year starter and a captain at Stanford. So they've got Levani Demooney to plug in. He's not Lander Barton, but he's still pretty darn good. And so they're good there. The safeties, Bishop and Bucky, are very good. And finally, the secondary got tested last week against SC and held up pretty good against that test.
Right.
So it's just really good on all 3 levels. But you know this. When you can generate a pass rush against with just your down 4 and you don't have to get too exotic, it makes life really easy on the back end.
Yeah, no doubt. What does this matchup mean to Utah fans? Because I think about in the Pac-12 era, Bill, Ducks have won 6 of the last 10, and it's odd. Like, only 3 of them have really been close in the last 10 meetings. It seems like these are either one-sided one way or the other, Bill. What are you expecting? What's the view of this matchup from Utah fans when you're looking at Oregon?
Well, Oregon's always a big game. I mean, look at some of the games they played. 2 Pac-12 championship games. Utah got 1. Oregon got 1.
Right.
The last time you guys were at Rice-Eccles Stadium was kind of a buzzsaw game. That was that blackout, perfect scenario. Everything went right for Utah. Nothing went right for Oregon. And then you had the game last year where I kind of feel like we got ripped off a little bit last year, Joey, in that game because Bo Nix was banged up and Cam Rising was banged up. I was expecting this great matchup between these 2 great quarterbacks. And Oregon won that game, but it wasn't the game that I was hoping to see last year. Those are 2 all-conference caliber quarterbacks that I was hoping to see. I think the game Saturday is going to be, and again, this isn't exactly breaking news. This is usually the case when Utah plays Oregon. The team that's best up front, the team that's more physical up front, I think wins it, because both these programs pride themselves so much on physicality and toughness up front. I think the team that can win that battle is going to have a real leg up on Saturday.
I agree. I mean, that's been kind of the theme. We've been talking a lot about narratives, at least I have on the show, Bill, about that exact thing, right? Physicality, what that means. I think it's similar views from both fan bases here moving forward. Okay, bigger picture question, Bill, before I ask you keys to the game. When the heck are we going to play each other again, and when are you going to do an interview again talking about football, and what's the view like in the Big 12 coming up?
Well, I mean, Utah's, nobody's happy about the Pac-12 breaking up. I mean, I don't think Duck fans probably are. You guys have so much history in that league, much more than Utah does. But this place has been so good for the last 13 years for Utah. And they came in and they've kind of made a main name for themselves the last 5 or 6 years.
Yep.
They're happy certainly that they're going to land in a Power 5 league, and the Big 12 is a good league. There's no doubt about it. But there's some sadness here because, they were starting to get their footing and starting to develop great games. Oregon's won. SC, the games have been great there. They played some fun games against ASU over the years. So that part of it, I think people are a little sad about. They're certainly happy that they've landed in a Power 5 league. I don't know. I talked to Mark Harlan, the director of athletics. He said, I'd certainly love to play. He goes, we got to try and schedule an LA team because they recruit Southern California so often. But he also said, I'd love to be able to play against Washington and Oregon and some of these teams. But you know how it goes.
Yep.
Scheduling, it all depends on your new conference. How many conference games are you playing? Yep. You got to play the right amount of good games versus tough games and easy games so you don't overschedule yourself. So I hate the fact that this is the last time in a while you and I are going to be talking like this on a pregame show, unless we're doing it again in the first week in December when we head down to Las Vegas. We've done that before too, right?
That's right. That's a good point. We'll talk during basketball season, so I'm not ready to say farewell forever yet, Bill. But, we also schedule these things so far in advance. Yeah, we'll talk to you in like 2040, all right? I mean, that's probably what it could be with football. Final thought for the voice of the Utes, Bill Riley. Keys to the game, what are you expecting? And also, part 2 maybe, what's the environment going to be like? I mean, we're talking loud, game day. It's going to be a lot of stuff going on, right?
Yeah, there's a lot going on the next couple of days here. Game day's showing up later tonight. They'll be setting up all day Friday, and then, the big show on Saturday morning up at President's Circle. The game's a sellout. It always is. This is one of those games. You and I both like day games because that means we get to go see our friends and loved ones later in the evening. We're not working till 2 a.m. But I always say there's 1 or 2 games a year where I'd like it to be a night game. That last time you guys came to Salt Lake City, the atmosphere, and trust me, the atmosphere will be great. But, night games, when fans have had a little chance to fuel themselves up a little bit more during the day, there's a little bit more electricity in there. So I kind of wish this was a 6 or 7 o'clock kickoff. But the atmosphere will be great. And as far as game keys goes, I already mentioned the physicality.
Yeah.
And I'll just kind of go cliche here, too. Both these teams have been pretty damn good this year about protecting the football. Bo Nix has thrown 1 interception. Bryson Barnes has thrown, I think, 2. But Utah hasn't given it up very much. I think it's going to be a 1-possession game. The line's, I think, 6.5. I think it'll be within a score. So I think whoever protects the ball better or values that football better, a little bit better, because I even think 1 turnover, 1 poorly placed pass, or put that ball on the turf could play a difference in Saturday's game.
Yeah, I agree. The OSN broadcast crew agrees. We talked about that on the coach's show last night. Bill, go pick up Bill Riley III. Thanks to Bill Riley IV for taking the time. I look forward to seeing you in the press box one last time in Salt Lake City, my friend.
I'll see you and Jerry and Mike on Saturday. Travel safe, Joey. Take care.
Thanks, Bill. Bill Riley, voice of the Utes. When we come back, talking with Bucky Irving, getting into a few more things as we approach kickoff at 12:30 on Saturday on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
Duck Insider continues after this timeout on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Put your phone on D&D, that means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D, that means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Hey, son, how are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, the loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
We're back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack, thankful to Bill Riley for taking the time. I got to go inside the broadcast a little bit. So Bill and I were talking on Monday. It was like, okay, let's try to record something Tuesday. Then it was, well, shoot, he's on the air for 3 hours. We're at practice in the morning. Then we're on the air. We can't do it then. Could we do it Wednesday? No, we got the coaches show Wednesday. Well, so we did it live. And we did it on Thursday while he was on the way to pick up his dad from the airport. So thanks, Bill. I appreciate you taking the time and the effort. We'll be talking with him coming up on our pregame show as well, some of his thoughts and the thoughts from Coach Whittingham. And last night it was funny. So Rob Mosley and I were talking yesterday about how Noah Whittington and Kyle Whittingham were going to mess that up. So Jerry says Whittington, and then he said Whittingham, and then I heard Whittington, and then I turned and I was like, now I'm in my own head, and it's Rob Mosley's fault, so I just want everyone to know that from last night it's Rob's fault. Okay? But yeah, Noah Whittington, his backfield mate, Bucky Irving, Kyle Whittingham, the Utah head coach. I think that they both would agree that Bucky Irving is a key in this game. And Bucky Irving talked with the media after practice this week.
The yards per carry, you and Jordan are both right up there in the top of the country. What are you guys doing? What is your offensive line doing? What are you guys doing schematically to create so many big plays?
I want to shout out to my coach on just always coaching us up on where to hit the runs at, and he do a great job on just breaking down on where our runs gonna hit, and we just take the coaching and go out there and execute it.
What happened on that tackle from behind? Just people couldn't really tell what happened to you there.
You said what?
What happened on the tackle from behind? People just couldn't tell what happened to you after the play.
He just fell on my shoulder, just knocked the wind out of me, nothing too crazy.
Did you see, what was your vantage point of Patrick Herbert's block on the touchdown? Did you see that happen in front of you?
No, I didn't see it until we came in and watched the film, but I was just running. I didn't even see what was going on over there.
What did you think, though, when you saw it on film?
We just preach all week on how you're going to play without the ball, and that's just a great example of your teammate playing without the ball, being an unselfish guy.
Coach talked about how you said that your heart beats out of your chest. Nobody cares more about winning for this team. You're all competitors, Bucky, but why does this team mean so much to you? What is it about?
I don't take this game for granted. I love what I do every day, and I don't want guys on our team to take this game for granted. We got a good football team, but we always tell ourselves we can't get complacent. Every game is a big game in our opinion, and we're going to go out here and work each and every week. We're going to be 24-hour rule, and it's going to be on to the next game. Even if it's a win or a loss, we're going to come in and fix what we got to do on to the next week. And we're just going to come in and do what we do.
Utah's been known as one of the bigger, stronger, better teams against the run. Would you kind of take that challenge this week going into it?
I mean, we're going to prepare. Our look team do a great job of giving us looks in practice. So the things that you do in practice are going to translate over to the game. So we'll be up for the challenge.
In the receiving game in particular, like when you see in an early play when Bo hits Tez on that crosser because the backers flow to you, but then on the touchdown when they leave you open, like when you notice things like that during a game, like how excited do you get on the opportunity for in a passing situation to do what you did on Saturday?
Are you saying open it up for Tez?
No, like when Tez kind of opened it for you.
Yeah.
It's one of the early
I mean, that's just another way, going back to your example of teammates being unselfish, knowing that your job you might not get the ball each and every time, but you just doing it without the ball, knowing that you got to get to the flat, open up the control for Tez to get over his over route. You just playing without the ball.
Playing without the ball, really important. You know, that's actually been a theme for me this week. And I come back to, I was telling you about our conversation that we're having with Drew Maringer as part of the pregame show coming up at 10:30 on Saturday. And I asked Coach Maringer about playing without the ball and how valuable that is to learn to play without the ball. Patrick Herbert said that when I talked with him 2 weeks ago, that learning to play without the ball is so important. So if you're a young kid and you're learning to play football, everybody wants to play quarterback, running back, receiver, whatever. You want to play with the ball in your hands. You know, that's what we're all focused on. But the best players are the ones that can zoom out and be one of the 10 without the ball that does something that leads to a big-time explosive play for the offense. That's what Patrick Herbert has done a few times with those blocks. And I come back to that with Bucky Irving because I think playing without the ball, learning to play without the ball, this really extends beyond football. I hear Coach Altman talk about this in basketball all the time, for example. I think that's a huge key to this Oregon offense. Guys play really well without the football in their hands. That's a good trait, I think, of a team. And I think you're going to need traits like that, especially when you go on the road against a really good defense like Utah. Giving up, so we were talking with Bill Riley about this, not much on third down. When we come back, Slocum Center Minute, talk about jammed fingers. Oh, man, I've gone through that. Not fun. And then also we've got Casey Rogers, Taki Taimani, a little defense focus next on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Welcome to the Slocum Center Minute. Slocum Center physicians are located here in Eugene and are the orthopedic team physicians for your beloved Oregon Ducks. With me, I have Dr. Michael Keister, who specializes in non-surgical sports medicine at Slocum Center for Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Today, we're talking about sports nutrition. Dr. Keister, please share why sports nutrition is so important for athletes.
It's important for athletes because nutrition provides the fuel to power our workouts. It also provides the building blocks to recover and to build up the muscles once they're broken down during those workouts. And we can't forget the importance of proper hydration. Dehydration can really affect your ability to work out and can get you tired out more easily.
Tell me about some ways athletes can improve their nutrition.
One important thing is just eating a balanced diet. And when we say balanced diet, we mean a mixture of carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Carbohydrates should make up about 60 to 70% of the total fuel because that's really the main energy source. And then protein about 15% and fats the rest. I really emphasize to avoid fad dieting. People talk about fats being good, fats being bad, carbs being good, carbs being bad. Trying to stick to that balanced diet is really the best thing. In addition, lots of water, 2 cups before working out, and then usually almost a cup of water about every 15 to 20 minutes. Sports drinks really aren't needed unless you're working out for maybe longer than 45 to 60 minutes. Just good cold water is plenty to hydrate you in the time for that.
All right, thank you, Dr. Keister, for joining us today and talking about sports nutrition. Tune in next week to hear Dr. Wiest about ACL injuries. That was the Slocum Center Minute, brought to you by the Slocum Center, orthopedic team physicians for the University of Oregon athletes since 1967.
Dear roads, trails, and rivers. Ready for some SUV action? Drive family adventures with the Highlander. Make a splash with the RAV4. Or haul fun with the Sequoia. Check them at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear roads, trails, and rivers. Ready for some SUV action? Drive family adventures with the Highlander. Make a splash with the RAV4 or haul fun with a Sequoia. Check them at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
This is Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Back on Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack in the Coach Financial Studio. Well, we said it was going to be jammed fingers. It was actually about nutrition, so I'm thinking that if you have better nutrition, it's going to lead to less jammed fingers. Right? Right? Thank you. Thank you. Casey Rogers. He's probably jammed a finger or two in his life. He has been through the wars in his career, and he talked about how this is kind of as close as you're going to get to that narrative, the traditional of Big Ten football, two physical teams going at it at 12:30 on Saturday when the Ducks face the Utes. Casey Rogers on the matchup. He talked with the media this week.
Last year, right after the game, but you're as close with Bo as you are, and you knew how rough that week was for him. Mm-hmm. What did that mean as a player, as a teammate, looking back at it, to see your quarterback go through what he did all week and you guys win the game the way you do and he runs for the first time at the very end and all that?
Yeah, I think it just exemplified a leader, and it solidified how tough of a kid he is. We have pretty much everyone on the team follows Bo. Obviously, being the quarterback, he's in a position of power and position of leadership, and to have your head guy, one of your main guys, do that, it makes the team react in such a positive way. The amount of respect that I had already for him, it doubled by the end of that game, so that was pretty cool. And then had to have him healthy for this year. It should be a totally different game for him, which will be nice because he played well last year. So a healthy Bo Nix is a great Bo Nix, which is awesome.
You had one of your better games of the season last year against Utah. Is this a game where the physical nature of it, like between the tackles, kind of, I don't know, gets you excited a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean it's one of those games where you're going to be banging heads in the trenches, right? So it's as close to as a Big Ten style game as you'll get in the Pac-12. Which I played 4 years in, so it's something I'm used to, something I enjoy. Last year was awesome, and obviously I got to do it again this year, or it won't mean anything. So I'm excited for it. It's one of those games that keeps me up at night, just being anxious, being ready for it, excited for it. So it's gonna be a good time. It's gonna be fun.
What have you seen from Barnes, their quarterback, in just the last couple of weeks? Just what have you seen from him on film review?
Yeah, I mean, a ton of respect from just from how his path to being the starter of obviously Cam was a great player, and it's really unfortunate for him to be down this year, but he was given the keys and he's ran with it now. So I'm excited to be able to play him, and his future's really bright. So it's he's going to be a really good quarterback. He's going to be really tough to play. He's a pretty dual threat, so it's something we got to pay attention to. So so far I've seen a lot of really good things from him, and I'm excited to play him.
Are there any similarities in prep to Stanford week? Because they ran two quarterbacks at the time then, and then Utah kind of runs two quarterbacks every once in a while. Is there any similarities there in prep, or is this different?
I mean, here and there. I mean, I think they're similar to a point. I think with Utah, we're really just worried right now. We're stopping the run. That's something that Utah does very well, and that's something that we're preparing for. So. With Stanford, they could do a little bit of both. They obviously want to run the ball, but they can throw it too. I mean, and Utah can do that just as well too. But we're just excited to get out there down Salt Lake.
Small sample of a couple of games. What have you seen from their safety? moving to running back and being a lead guy for them, Bucky.
Yeah. I mean, man, what an athlete, right? I mean, you kind of watch him, he kind of just pops off the film. It's pretty cool to see a guy change positions like that and excel, and he's still playing the other position too. So, like I said earlier, a lot of respect for him as well. Not a lot of guys can do that. So, it's going to be fun to play him. He's a threat on their offense. So it's something that we're going to be well aware of, well dialed into, and it's a challenge. So we're ready for it. It'll be fun.
You're lifting with Jackson all the time and going up against him in practice. To see him playing the way that he is and earning the recognition that he's getting right now, like, what again? How does that feel as a teammate, and how much credit do you deserve in a way? Because I mean, he doesn't get iron sharpens iron, right?
Yeah. It's something that I knew was going to happen. It's just his mentality. Going to practice against him every day is a blessing because you're going against one of the best centers in the country every day. I don't get that much credit. He's the one who lifted the weights. If I had any contribution to that, it would be to that. I motivated him maybe a little bit. I don't know, but he's the one who did the work. He's the one who put in all that work, and just to see him coming out and doing what he's doing is really fun to watch. And his future is extremely bright, and I'm so proud of him. I'm proud to be his buddy. I'm proud to be his best friend. So, he just needs to keep going and keep working.
Casey Rogers talking there about Jackson Powers Johnson. And, Jackson Powers Johnson's going to be with us coming up on the pregame show. And he actually talked about Casey Rogers. And it's been a fun back and forth. They've had some fun with golf, one having to confirm that the other is publicly better at golf. That's been some good stuff. Now I want to switch gears a little bit. Tomorrow we'll hear from Kelly Graves, but today let's hear from Grace Van Sluten, someone who played a lot over the summer, actually, for Oregon women's basketball. The Duck women's basketball team is in action in an exhibition, 4 o'clock, coming up on Sunday. 3:30 pregame show here on the Oregon Sports Network with Chris Clayton and Bev Smith. Grace Van Sluten talked with the media yesterday about the season upcoming, her off season, what to expect for the Ducks this year as women's basketball season starts Sunday. Here's Grace Van Sluten.
How you feel at this point in the year this year compared to last year? How much you've grown, different role with the team, all that?
Yeah, definitely a different role. Super excited. The off season was super important. Really working on my perimeter game, so that's what I'm planning to come out this year and improve on and kind of show a different type of play to my game.
Coach said you've improved the most in your confidence. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Yeah.
What are in the perimeter maybe? Is it just everything, or are there certain aspects, shooting, dribbling, distributing? Like what kind of areas in particular you kind of focus on?
Definitely perimeter shooting, and then also ball handling, coming off screens, handoffs, and then also on the defensive end, guarding the perimeter and stuff like that.
Did you play much on the perimeter like in high school, or is this kind of a new?
A little bit, but this is definitely newer. It was more in like my freshman, sophomore year of high school.
And maybe why now? Like, why is this the time? Is it something you and Coach talked about doing, or was this something you wanted to do, or kind of it's a bit of a change?
A little bit of both. I love playing out there, and I've always wanted to, and it was just kind of this off season that I had to really lock in and focus on, making that jump to be able to play out there in the Pac-12. So that's what I did, and I'm really excited to see how it goes.
So how did that change your off season? What did workouts look for you? Are you doing a lot of stuff on your own, or are you working with different teammates to work on different elements of your game?
We'll work a lot with the coaches, but just a lot of shooting, a lot of reps, a lot of coming off ball screens. I'd work with, Kennedy Basham or Filipina, and they'd set a screen. I'd come off, find them on the roll, just different types of stuff on the perimeter.
Did you have a set number of shots you wanted to make every day?
Not a set number of shots, but I get close to probably 500 shots up or makes.
A lot of new faces on this team. What's the biggest change? How do you feel like everybody's coming together, I guess, from a chemistry perspective?
I think it's coming great. I think the summer really helped. The foreign tour helped a lot. We bonded really well over there, and then we got to have those couple of games, so we saw what we had to work with and knew where everybody wants the ball, know everybody's what they like and what they don't like. So I think the foreign tour is really important, but yeah, we're definitely coming together. It's going to take a couple of games, obviously, to get the chemistry down, but I think we're in a good spot.
What was it like going overseas? I know you'd done a little bit of that. You probably had teammates who hadn't, but what was it like experience just away from basketball?
It was crazy. The different cultures are it's really crazy to see. London was a shock, but Greece was even bigger of a shock. It's just the food is different. People are different. And it's just, I don't know. It's almost like you don't have words for it until you really experience it for yourself.
At what point in the offseason did you feel back to 100%?
I would say Probably end of May going into June is when I really started going hard at it. And then I had the USA, and I started feeling really well after that.
Just going to the perimeter more, staying out of the paint. Well, not going to be completely out, but limiting the amount of time you're in the paint. Is that also a little bit to help avoid some of the ankle issues that were part of last season?
Yeah, I think so. I think staying out of the paint, I mean, you're in there, you're jumping up for rebounds, and you're going against some bigger players, physical players. So it probably does have an impact. So, hopefully we'll see. We'll stay away from that.
It's kind of a strange question, but have you done anything to work on protecting your ankles more in terms of body? I don't know what you would do, but have you done things kind of mindfully this offseason in that regard?
Yeah, I go in for rehab treatment, just do activities to strengthen those ligaments in my ankles, weight training, flexibility, all that type of stuff.
Even though it's just your sophomore year, obviously Coach talked about, you filling in, Chance being basically the mainstays from a season ago. How have you seen yourself take on that leadership role?
I mean, I kind of seen it as, no other choice. Somebody's got to do it, and I think that's where, Chance and I are really well. We kind of work off of each other. We know each other. So definitely still working on the vocal part of leading, but, it's been great. No problem so far.
You mentioned, obviously, it's going to take some time for that gelling to work on the court. What are some of the challenges that you guys feel like you're running into already?
I would say communication is probably our number one. I think especially on the defensive end. That's where we really need to get better. So, you saw us do a lot of defense today, and we're just going to keep going at it, working on it until, it gets better.
I always talked about you guys are probably going to be a little bit more deliberate, a little bit slower offensively this year. Where do you see the team has bought into that so far, and just is that a bit of a challenge in and of itself that you guys were recruited and thought Oregon was probably scoring 90 to 100 points? Probably not going to do that as much.
Right.
So where's, like I said, kind of the team buy-in to playing probably more in the 60s or 70s?
I mean, I think we understand, but then I think, that really means we have to hone in on the defensive end. So if we're only scoring 60, 70 points, obviously we have to keep our opponents lower than that. So I think that's kind of where our mentality is at, is just buying on the defensive end, fly around, get loose balls, everything like that.
Who are some of the newcomers that are already standing out in camp?
Peyton Scott is definitely one. She came in, works hard, she's a leader. She's got that fifth-year mentality. She has a lot of great things to bring to the table. And then Kenny Williams, another fifth year. It's just really easy to learn from them. They're really great vocal leaders. You have a question, they'll answer it. They know the answer and everything like that, and they just pick everything up super quick.
When you guys are trying to establish yourselves as leaders as younger players, and the vocal part is the part that's got to come, how valuable is it to have somebody like Peyton who's willing to come in and just immediately raise her voice and fill that void?
Oh, it's great, and it definitely takes some pressure off of us too. Just knowing that we have that fifth year leader and everything like that. So, she's just such a high IQ player. She knows everything, knows every spot and everything like that. So, if you have a question, we ask her.
That's Grace Van Sluten. She met with the media yesterday. The aforementioned Peyton Scott, who has stepped up, also met with the media yesterday. I'm hoping to have that for you on the show tomorrow. Kelly Graves met with the media for over 10 minutes. That's going to be on the show along with Jerry and Jorgie. We'll make some Pac-12 picks. We will do the show a bit early tomorrow. Those of you who watch the show live, we're going to do it 10 to 11 a.m. 10 to 11 a.m. to accommodate our travel to Utah. If you tune in on the Oregon Sports Network, it'll be regular time for you. But for those of you that watch the show live, from 10 to 11 in the morning is when we'll do Duck Insider, make some picks, Jerry and Jorgie's keys to the game. And then also hearing from Taki Taimani. We didn't get to that, and a full weekend preview. The rest of what to expect tomorrow, we'll tell you after this. Back after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop. That dog does not want to be petted.
A heads up before something bad happens.
You should not send that text.
Uh-oh. Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can reverse prediabetes and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Finishing up Duck Insider, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. Joey Mack with you in the Country Financial Studio. So again, tomorrow morning we'll have Duck Insider from 10 to 11. Jerry and Jorgie will be with us for some keys to the game. Also, Taki Taimani, he was on the Coaches Show last night. His conversation with the rest of the media. We got that for you tomorrow, as well as the full women's basketball preview. We've got a lot of other things, actually, with Matt Ulmer talking with the media ahead of the maybe revenge match for Oregon volleyball, 7 o'clock on Friday. The Ducks in Pullman, a top 15, top 10 matchup on Pac-12 Network. Tonight, good luck to Oregon soccer. Ducks and Dogs, 7 o'clock at Pape Field. We'll see you there. If you can't make it out here in the Eugene area, it's televised on Pac-12 Washington specifically tonight. What else can I tell you today? I tell you what, I really hope that Oregon soccer gets that breakthrough. I think they've been so close. They're so young. They've been beaten up with injuries. I hope that they get that breakthrough here tonight, 7 o'clock for Graham Abel's team. Also, best of luck to Oregon men's tennis in the SoCal Intercollegiate. Yeah, that's coming up this weekend, underway here today, tomorrow, Saturday. It's a busy weekend. Basketball season is back, and, of course, a 12:30 kickoff for the Ducks and Utes. ESPN's College Game Day in town. Third time that they've been at an Oregon-featured game. That says something, doesn't it? 10 to 11 tomorrow. Jerry and Jorgie will be with us before that 10:30 pregame show on Saturday. Ducks and Utes this week. I'm Joey Mack. See ya.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.